All right, hey, it's Kes with Cage Nation. I'm here with Dan Bogan. He is the ring announcer for Gladiators at the Cage, and he's pretty awesome. So, Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you exactly?
I DJ for a living. I used to do clubs. I actually did small market radio stations on TV. That was years ago. I started DJing for a living. Back in the 80s, I was ring announcing for Tough Guy contests. Caliger and Viola teamed up with the Caesar. They were tournaments for amateur fighters from all different backgrounds. So the promotion would be like a lumberjack versus the school teacher, a biker versus, and that's how they promoted it. It's a lot of fun. It was not sanctioned. Other companies started doing it, and somebody got fatally injured in another company, not ours. And all of a sudden, everything stopped. So 30 years ago, I stopped ringing out. I was DJing. I had my friend Ray Reamer, who works with Gladiator Cage, and met up with Robert Joseph. And Robert says, "Do you know a ring announcer?" I said, "I do." And it's been a long time. And as you can hear, I still got the mothballs. I lost my voice today. So I had to dust off the charm and come back into the cage in the ring. And then we did the show in Butler. And then we had a show in Catania. We had boxing and MMA up there. We had a cage and a ring. So I was back in the ring. Now I did another show for Irv Allhouse, fine kickboxing and Muay Thai promoter on the eastern part of the state. He brought a show out here, and I did his show up in the Lindor Butler area. That was a few weeks ago, and he's going to be successful if he's bringing it back. I work for. I'm loyal to Gladiators in the Cage, but I'm not exclusive to it. So anybody that knows me, I'm happy to do it. I do obviously have a commission license and everything else. I just love it. So it's a great time. You can meet fine folks like me. The MMA and the fighters. I'll be honest, a little humble group of guys. They're managers. I think it's the self-discipline of the fight games. You know, maybe it's the Asian mentality sometimes. They're just a very mannered majority. There's always an exception. But they're just really nice and humble and courteous, well-mannered people. And it's great to work with.
Well, I know, like, you're in the cage and you do a fantastic job announcing everything. And the thing that I think we like about you, besides personality, you're a nice guy announcing, is you bring character to the ring. So you have, like, you're coming in, you've got the dreadlocks. Like, what you gotta tell me about it. Like, that's a real.
I've had it for 23 years. Been to Jamaica 12 times, but it's been about 10 years. I'm fascinated with the rest of the culture. I don't practice it very well, but I do appreciate it. And at this point, since I'm not serving or cooking the food, it seems to be something that stands out a little bit. It's unique. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone likes it. But if nothing else, they take the guy with the hair. I get that. You know? Right. So it used to be the DJ. Then it's the guy with the hair. Now it's the guy with the German Shepherd. Yeah, I like that one.
That's the next one. Yeah, tell us about that.
That's my boy.
On Facebook, and there's always like 2 pictures on it. Yeah, it's great.
I love my German Shepherd. He's my best friend in the world. I mean, loyal, unforgiving. He's awesome. And everyone that meets him, people come to me when I work, and they'll say, "How's Samson?" And I don't even know who they are. But, you know, or we see you outside playing with your dog when we drive by.
Why are you stalking me?
Yeah, who are you? But no, it makes me feel, they don't know my name, but they know Samson.
Right?
He's a legend.
Do you think we might be able to get Mr. Serb to allow him into the ring? Maybe, you know, the dog and man combo. I mean, that could be a good...
Now, Mr. Allhouse out in he runs shows out at the Hamburg Fieldhouse. I guess some of the things he has, they have a canine department out there. He's had the canine cops come in with the dogs. I'm thinking, you know, maybe if I could borrow a policeman's outfit, maybe we could sneak something in that way.
I think that would be
fun. Or I'm going to go with dark sunglasses and a white stick and just bring him in, and I'll give him the keys to drive, and it's like I'll be blind for a while.
Yeah, and that's even more marketable. It'd be the blind guy's dog that ring announces wonderfully with the dreads and everything else.
He's blind.
Yeah, it's
I'll lean down to Samson and say, "Okay, our next event."
You're a modern miracle.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. I wouldn't have. It's getting a little deep now.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time.
It's been a pleasure. And Cage Nation is an awesome show. I really do watch it as often as I can. I do miss a few here and there, but it's not your fault. And again, you do merge entertainment and information, and you've been very, very nice to the Gladiators and the Cage folks, and we do appreciate that. I'm glad to see you back here. We hope you get the next one.
Absolutely. We appreciate the hospitality. It's always a great time here at Gladiators and the Cage. We always look forward to covering those events. So again,
thank you so much. Keep watching Cage Nation TV, folks.
Let's go. Welcome to the Cage Nation. Welcome to the Cage Nation. Welcome to the Cage Nation. No one can drop us, no one can stop us. We We are the warriors, no one can top us, no one can rock us. We are the warriors, no one can drop us, no one can stop us. We are the warriors, no one can top us, no one can rock us. We are the warriors.
Welcome everybody to Stage AE in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is the site of North Shore's Rise to Power 3 for Gladiators of the Cage. It's a special edition of Cage Nation TV. Drew Shannon, Albert Cameron, and our good friend Kess back with us by popular demand.
Popular demand.
Not
indeed.
really.
Well, by popular demand, I demanded it, and you were okay with it.
Yeah, I was okay.
My mom wanted me here too. Whatever.
We're going to be running down the card for tonight's bouts. It is going to be top to bottom. This is just going to be an excellent card altogether. Gladiators of the Cage never ceases to amaze us.
When this card was announced, it was one of those cards. As soon as I saw it, I know you and I, we all felt the same way. As soon as this card was announced, there's a lot of fights on there, names that we saw that we got very, very excited about. And sometimes when a card's announced, a lot of the fights don't stick. But I think as a whole, the card really gelled together very, very early, and then really held throughout the rigors of things that may really kind of dampen production. So tonight here at Stage AE, we got a lot of good fights from top to bottom, as you said, but fights that we've been very excited about for a very, very long time.
Exactly.
And the nice thing is we've got 12 fights. Everybody made weight, so
Right.
all the
If
fights
you're not here tonight to watch this, then
It sucks to be here.
Totally. Hopefully you get a chance to see this on
Root Sports, Tough TV, You Fight Live.
Right, so what, we got a dozen fights tonight. It's going to be amazing. We've got
Fox 53.
Fox 53.
Fox 53
We got
as well. Let's not
12
forget them.
amazing fights. We're going to be covering those. We're going to be interviewing fighters. Albert's going to give us kind of a little in-depth look at this new cage that Gladiators of the Cage has. I'm going to bring a little thing. We're going to look at Stage AE because this venue is gorgeous. Gorgeous. So we're going to go through it and see what exactly is Stage AE.
So wait, what am I going to do then?
Drew's just going to sit here and say, look pretty. But Drew's going to be here.
Top to bottom, Cage Nation TV is bringing you everything you need to know about North Shore's Rise to Power. You know, we even
Nice
look.
night.
Isn't that nice? And it's gone.
I'm over.
All right.
So, top to bottom, Cage Nation TV is bringing you everything you need to know about North Shore's Rise to Power 3. You don't really get the feel of how much time is going by, but I mean, like I'm biting my nails, figuratively.
I'm
just
excited.
waiting.
I'm
It's
really
gonna
I'm
be
excited.
stoked.
fun. Yeah.
This is going to be an excellent night of fights. So, well, we've got more coverage.
We're gonna bring you interviews. We're gonna bring you segments. It's gonna be everything you need to know.
It's going to be great. Stick around. You're watching the preview episode for Gladiators of the Cage,
That's
North
it.
Shore's Rise to Power
Wrapping it all together.
3. We're wrapping it all together. Stick around. We've got more coming up next on Cage Nation TV.
Hey everybody, it's Kess. We're here, Stage AE. Here's the segment. This is our venue for tonight's Gladiators of the Cage event. Now, Gladiators of the Cage, this is what, I think the second, third show here. This venue is incredible. All right, we're here right, like I said, on the North Shore of Pittsburgh. We're actually in the Heinz Field parking lot. They took away some of the spaces when they originally built this. Heinz Field is actually just right over here. If we could see through the building, you'd see it over there. Now, this venue is actually celebrating its 3rd birthday. Maybe today, I don't know. They opened the very beginning of December in 2010. So they've had all kinds of acts here. They've had Slayer, Rob Zombie, Danzig, The Misfits, Ray LaMontagne, and one of my favorites, Flogging Molly. In fact, they're going to be back here in March, and I'm going to be here. So we're going to go inside and take a look at some different things about what makes this venue look amazing, not only on video, but just to come here and watch it as a fan. And I guess since he doesn't have anything else to do, we'll bring Drew along. Hi, Drew.
Hey, come on in. It's cold out there.
All right, let's show you guys why this venue is phenomenal.
Let us show you.
PH.
All you got to do is just take a look.
As soon as you come in here, you've got a bar right here. Which is, let's face it, alcohol usually makes an MMA fight that much better.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, do we have to do this now? We just hit the bar?
Yes. Let's weed through some people.
Bar.
Alright, so the first thing you notice when you come in here is basically the location of the cage. It sits down a little bit into a bowl. Your main stage for most venues, concerts and stuff, are going to be back there where those bleachers are, okay? So you've got sound towers like crazy. The sound in here is phenomenal. It's loud, but it's not ear-piercing. They do a really good job of it. Now, if you come out here, the lighting rig in here if you don't kill yourself on the security barricade. The lighting rig in here is phenomenal. Jason Dignan's also here, and he's pretty phenomenal too. If you look at this light, you've got lighting the whole way around. I mean, you're looking at not just for the crowd, but any kind of pictures, video, and stuff that's going to go in here. Because like we mentioned, we have what, Root Sports, Fox 53,
Exactly.
Tough TV, You Fight Live.
We've got
lot
a
of
veritable potpourri of coverage tonight in Cage Nation TV as well.
Okay, so you've got, not only you have seating out and around here, you've got bleachers and things up here on the stage. You've also got this balcony that circles around. Now I know that's where we shot our opening from, so you've got all that great vantage point from up there. So you come over here, you've got TV monitors here. You've got 42 inches, looks like, maybe 50 behind the bar. You've got giant projection screens, rear projection screens right up here at the top. They're showing the action live. They're showing tails of the tape. They're showing replays because of all the extra production and stuff going on here. You're going to be seeing replays after every fight.
Now, if you want to talk about production value, these are the guys to look to. Unbelievable production value, just fantastic.
I'm telling you what, the nice thing about this venue, you've seen things like, we've covered things at the Jaffa Moss, we've covered things at the Blair County Convention Center. You've got some of the others, ice arenas and things like that, but I would say Blair County Convention Center is one of the nicer venues. The Jaffa's an older venue, but it's a nicer venue.
Right.
This venue is intimate and extremely modern, which is kind of nice. I mean, I come here and I see a show, whether it's a concert or especially an MMA. Gladiators of the Cage puts on a show here. I don't know, it's the pinnacle to me.
It is an event. It's not just a show. This is something that you need to see. You need to be here live to check out. Stage AE is in a tremendous facility.
Yeah, if you haven't been here to see one of the fights, I know they're having another event in March. I don't know if it's here yet or not, but next time they're here, you need to be here. Watching it through us or watching it through one of the Root Sports, stuff like that, really doesn't do it justice. Good production value, don't get me wrong. But being here live, it gives you such, I don't know, I love this venue. I think that comes through.
It's a great venue.
And they got bathrooms on the second floor, which is kind of nice.
Oh my God, that's a plus.
But yeah, guys, I wanted to give you guys kind of an insider's look at Stage AE, and I'm telling you what, it's going to be phenomenal. So stay tuned. When we get back, we're going to have more interviews, segments,
All sorts of stuff.
all kinds of stuff that we usually have here. So
It's Cage Nation TV. Stick around. Well, gentlemen,
wow.
I think we were under the honest belief that we had no idea how North Shore Rise to Power 2 was going to get better. And then we go to Road to Glory 5, and we're wondering, how does that get any better? Well,
we found out tonight how it got better.
did it ever?
Now, I do want to mention, unfortunately, because of the contract with Root Sports, we are not allowed to show any footage on the show this episode. However,
December 20th.
you'll be able to see the footage 8 p.m. Friday night, December 20th. Root Sports present. What are you looking at me like that?
You're talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Root Sports presents. Go ahead.
Gladiators of the Cage Rise, or North Shore Rise to Power 3.
Three.
We'll be on that.
So it's gonna be a great night. It's gonna be a great night. You guys definitely have to check it out, especially if you were not here. We're about to run down what happened.
Let's start from the beginning of the card. Courtney Kern versus Melissa Gastick. Okay. Melissa Gastick's amateur debut.
Yes.
Courtney Kern already had a fight in, and we were already very, very familiar with that fight.
Now, as you heard in the pre-show, Melissa Gazdick saying she was going to win in the second round via submission. Well,
Not quite. It was a round 2 technical knockout. And this fight was really worth mentioning because, this was easily the bloodiest fight on the card. There was one point where they could not get Courtney Kern's nose to stop.
Courtney Kern, not only, I think it was broken. I think when you look at it right up here, it was pushed aside. She had a cut over here that was bleeding pretty profusely and coming out both nostrils. So, it was just blood all over.
Right, but Courtney Kern wouldn't stop.
No.
We could not get her to stop. It actually took a technical knockout to get that fight to stop.
You know what? Ron Rusitano and Chip Snyder, the referee, Ron being the acting commissioner, they let the fight go. The doctor, made sure Courtney was all right and everything. So props to them for letting that fight go on. I'm glad they did. They stopped it obviously with the TKO, but up until that point, it was a good fight.
I'm telling you what, Courtney Kern literally, and we were talking about this with a couple of guys. After the first round, it looked like her face was just crimson. It wasn't just the blood either. It looked like, she had a rash or
it was a trauma from the
bad
strike.
sunburn. It was a trauma from the strike. She was getting hit hard. So props to Melissa Gass on her first win, a very successful one here at Gladiators of the Cage.
Congratulations to both women.
They both put on a hell of a show.
Moving on, we had Donnie Bard versus Roger Anderson. That fight was a great back and forth battle until about the third round. Oh, the end of the second round.
The end of the second round
In the
was...
second round, Donnie barred a lot of people. In a lot of people's opinion, a flash knockout was scored. I thought that Roger Anderson was on his feet.
saved by the bell.
Absolutely. So,
And the cage.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
actually backed up into the cage and kept himself upright, and then
so Donnie Bard smells blood. I mean, we're in shark infested waters at this point. Donnie Bard comes out swinging 16 seconds of round 2. The fight was over. So I mean, that puts Team AMS up 2-0 or 2 for 2 in their series. Then the third bout was Matt Falk. Matt Falk was another AMS fighter, Team AMS Fractured City Gear fighter. He took on Brandon Turner. So that fight was just so incredible. Round 2, the Americano.
We thought his arm was gonna break, and apparently something did pop, according to Chip
Chip
Snyder.
Snyder. Yeah, he said he thinks it was a tendon or something in the arm. The elbow didn't move, but he definitely heard a pop, and it looked painful, very painful.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, the human arm is not designed to bend that way.
I think no, this part's not supposed to bend at all.
No.
Right.
I think you and I were sitting there, Cass, and we were just like wincing. We were just waiting for the.
yeah.
I was waiting for the break and the scream.
I thought for sure I was going to see the arm go like thighs with that.
Yeah.
And quite possibly I think we pretty much agreed that the fight of the night would have been Dan Kakuta versus Matt McWilliams.
Wow.
Kakuta, the entire fight looked like this.
There was
No
no
matter
emotion.
whether he
there
was
was no-
on the attack, he was on the defense. It doesn't matter. The guy was as cold
He was
as I've ever
more
seen.
machine than man. It was just this stone cold expression the whole time.
What impressed me the most was his dynamic fighting style. He was throwing incredible strikes. His wrestling.
Go ahead.
I mean, it was such dynamic wrestling. At one point, he used the side of the cage to springboard.
That's
to flip McWilliams over into like several different variations of the Bravo choke, like he invented the technique.
I mean, the way he was bouncing off the cage and just flipping it. I mean, I swear to God, I was watching WWE for a second. This guy was so acrobatic
His
and
guards
everything.
against takedowns. His guards against
Oh,
takedowns. He would go
he's-
for it. The guy
he's
he would
probably-
shoot on him, and he'd just spread out and go down.
His sprawl was probably the best of the night. Right. Easily the best sprawl. So, to elaborate on what Kes said, Dan Kakuta had this great resolve. We go in the elevator, go into the bathroom, we find out that Dan Kakuta's hand is practically destroyed. There is bones in the hand
The
that
bone in, I think it was the forefinger, must have snapped or pushed up or something. There's a lump right here on his palm.
but you'd never know watching the guy fight. I mean, he didn't favor the hand at all.
Right.
He kept throwing strikes with it.
And he mentioned at the end of the fight that he thought that he did break his hand, and then afterwards you found out, he
Through our
most
elevator
definitely did.
ride, we found that out.
In our amateur main event, I think we have the shortest title reign in Gladiator of the Cage history.
This was unbelievable, and we broke the exclusive on Facebook as it happened.
And Twitter.
And Twitter as well. Check Twitter. Subscribe to us on Twitter.
Zach Schultz gets a featherweight championship title fight against Travis List. Travis is, of course, the Gladiators in the Cage 155-pound amateur champion. An absolutely monster fight. I think it went exactly how we thought it was going to go.
Right.
Schultz is going to have the edge on the ground. List is going to have the edge standing up. 2:48 into the round 1. I mean, we're talking we have less than 12 seconds left in the fight. And Zach Schultz takes a beating like I've never seen a man take before. He's being hit in the side of the head. He's being, the undercuts under the armpits. Those strikes from the back, from List's position in the back, are absolutely devastating. I props to Zach Schultz for hanging on as long as he did.
Oh, definitely. Props to Zach Schultz. I mean,
Yeah, but TK on strikes, like once in Chip Snyder's a very good referee. He gets guys up off the ground if they're there too long. He lets fights go on. But once you're in a guard, and you're not fighting back or moving back, he's going to call it.
Right.
now, here's what happened post-fight.
Well, let's explain. They were doing interviews for Root Sports and everything.
Which you'll see on December 20th, 8 p.m. Sports. And he announces his retirement.
He's done.
He's done. He's got a family. He's
Second
got
child on the way.
Second child on the way.
Congratulations, Travis, for that, by the way.
And he did give the Danny Glover response of, "I'm getting too old for this." Didn't use the expletive, but basically, he said he's getting up there with age. He has a second child on the way, and he's going to respectfully walk away. And I mean, he walks away a champion,
Absolutely. So
a double
Are
champion.
you having a conversation over here?
I am. My Kes's card's not being towed, and for that we are thankful.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, so we get into the pro card. We get into the pro card that opened up with Shane Falco.
Oh, man.
Who, Shane Falco, I mean, we're familiar from our home ground.
Right.
He takes on Brandon Wheeler. So, two things are blaringly obvious. Shane Falco is clearly a world caliber wrestler.
Ridiculous.
Brandon Wheeler is obviously a jiu-jitsu wizard.
Yeah.
So what happens when you get two distinctly different ground styles going on? You get probably one of the best debuting pro fights I think we've seen in a very, very long time. Round one ends with Shane Falco in a knee bar that...
In a knee bar that I thought for sure I was going to see ACLs and MCLs, and it was just...
Again, another submission like that we were...
I mean, his knee was practically bending back.
There was definitely...
And it wasn't a quick thing. He was holding it for I don't know what, like...
Oh, he had to have... No, he had between 15 and 20 seconds.
Oh.
Hyperextension definitely occurred.
And it came
totally
down,
hyperextension.
And it came down to 10 seconds in the round.
Right.
Yeah.
And he held on the whole time.
And when he got up, he had a noticeable limp on that.
Yeah. Well then, before the knee bar happened, I mean, I think Shane Falco learned that he's very, very good at slamming people from a power bomb.
My favorite rare move, the MMA power bomb. 2 or 3 times, I think.
On
3 times tonight.
On a global scale, they call it the Rampage Slam. I think locally and regionally here, we just might as well know it as the Falco. The
Falco bomb.
Yeah. So then it gets into round 2, or end of round 3, and Falco finds himself in a triangle choke that is nobody's business.
A deep triangle choke.
Textbook triangle choke. I mean, if Helio Gracie was alive today doing a clinic in the cage showing how to do a triangle choke, that's how deep that triangle choke was. Falco completely outlasted.
Now here's what I talked to him after when we were in the cage. We were talking, and he said he felt himself starting to go, but he heard the crowd, and it like brought him back. It almost reminded me again of like pro wrestling, you know, like the crowd, and he's like, like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Right, but that's what he heard, and he pulls out and he slipped out of it.
No, I really believe if that knee bar had not occurred, Shane Falco would have slammed out of that.
More power
triangle
bombs,
choke.
yep.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Power
So,
bombs
more
for days.
You
I
could
would've been-
your
I was
own
happy.
personal nirvana.
The judges were apparently a very big fan of Shane Falco and his performance. Shane Falco gets a unanimous decision.
Yeah, unanimous. Dude, that
Unanimous
was, but it was
decision.
a manly battle.
Yeah. So speaking of triangle chokes that were effective, we've got Ryan Hogan's, who was a great guy. We talked to him pre-fight. Ryan Hogan's gets in the cage with Steve Jones. Ryan Hogan scores early with a nasty head kick. Nasty head kick that probably would have put anybody else down. Right. Steve Jones outlasted and endured. Steve Jones wanted to stand and strike.
He wanted to stand and strike, but he kept going, and his corner kept saying boxing stance, boxing
Right.
stance. He kept putting his face out there, essentially, and he kept going for those shoot takedowns.
I think we can agree that Steve Jones may have had an edge on the standing, which is why his corner wanted to keep him standing. But then once the fight hit the ground, it was all Ryan Hogan's.
Yeah, and he has, 5 titles that he won on his back.
Yeah. Well,
So,
clearly.
yeah.
I mean, clearly. I mean, he said that pre-fight interview.
Right.
And I mean, I had no idea how completely effective that guy was on the ground. Round 1 was good. Round 2 almost went the distance until a triangle choke that Steve Jones was just not able to get out of.
And I'll tell you what, every time Steve Jones took him to the ground, he was going for that triangle choke, and he was able to get out of it until that.
His corner told him to keep his hips high, keep pressure, and but Ryan Hogan, I think, did a
He
great
caught
job.
him, and that was it.
Francis the Mad Dog Healy taking on Jeff Smith.
A crowd favorite.
To say the least.
I mean, I think Stage AE almost come down a couple times tonight.
Yeah.
Well, first of which being Francis Healy, who fights out of the Mad Factory. That fight really didn't go on long enough to really have an in-depth analysis about.
Right.
Francis Healy with a first round armbar, 2 minutes 14 seconds in. I thought it was gorgeous. I thought it was an absolutely gorgeous armbar, and it just kind of shows what kind of great ground skills you learn from that Factory.
Apparently.
Yeah. All right.
Moving on.
Jason the Whip Willett, easily a crowd favorite.
Oh.
Easily a crowd favorite. He takes on Steve Smith. Steve Smith was the guy who has the victory over Charlie the Madman Gathers, a Fractured City Gear teammate, and that fight ends round 1 with a rear naked choke. That fight, I think, was a great back and forth.
Definitely.
Willett ends up taking a kick to the thigh. That he has this welt. He had a welt that got progressively worse.
When we saw the welt at first, it was just this bright red. By the end of the fight, you could see the bruise forming, the black, the brown. It looked nasty.
It looked like time-lapse photography. It was
Exactly.
a little welt, big welt, starts to like turn a little bit, and then by the time he's done with his
practically dead
interview,
tissue,
it's
Yeah. With Jason Willett's win, the Team AMS got the clean sweep tonight.
Right.
4-0.
4 for 4. in all their fights. Team AMS, Fracture City Gear, had a lot to celebrate tonight. I've seen clean sweep, teams do clean sweeps before. I think Blackman MMA, Complete Devastation 5, they did like 3.
Yeah, Jeff Smith, I think got it.
Jeff Smith, Michael Applefinger, and Darryl Horcher.
Yep.
They ended up getting the clean sweep. Team AMS, I think, did it in a much more impressive fashion because none of their wins really went to decision. So yeah, I mean, it was a great night for Team AMS.
Very
Not
few.
much went to decision.
No, I was gonna say very few fights tonight went to decision. Only 2.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about facts here. 12 fights, only 2 wins came out of the blue corner.
Yeah. The red corner was 10-2.
So if you're going to Vegas over the week, always bet on red.
If you're gonna fight Gladiators at the cage, try to come out first.
If you're going to Three Rivers Casino, bet on red at the roulette wheel.
Where do we leave off?
Okay, let's talk about hometown heroes here. A man who actually works on the North Shore. I think he even works at this building for security for concerts. Chris Dempsey versus Taiwan Howard.
Taiwan Howard, and you want to talk about a hometown favorite. Chris Dempsey comes out here, and this place comes unglued. They're on their feet for the
It goes banana. It was amazing.
I think there was one point I leaned over to Drew and I'm like, if this fight ends by any means is unsatisfying, this place is going to riot. Right?
Yeah, it could be bad.
But Taiwan Howard looked huge.
He looked huge, and he has what's his background? Was it Taekwondo?
It's a traditional martial art.
Yeah, and I mean he showed it because he had some really quick kicks.
Right.
He had those. He was really getting Demps with some of those uppercuts.
Yeah. But Chris Dempsey, I think, also has wrestling that was engineered for MMA.
Yeah.
And that was
once he got him down.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what we talked about Taiwan when we spoke to him in the interview. That he's got all this background except for wrestling, and that was kind of his downfall. Tonight we proved Chris Dempsey's wrestling is described as really making love to a gorilla. You don't stop until the gorilla stops. Wherever Chris Dempsey wants to take How
that
would you
fight.
know about that?
When Demps was on top of him, he just had control. He kind of did what he wanted with him.
That fight went exactly where he wanted to go.
And Taiwan, to his credit, he tried, but Demps is a strong man.
Well, there was one point that Chris Dempsey had Taiwan Howard off the mat and sent him completely meteoring back to the mat. And
I think we stepped in that.
There's a lot of soft spots in that cage right now, and I think it has a lot to do with Ryan Hogan's getting the Valco bombs, Ryan Hogan's getting slammed, and then Chris Dempsey just completely manhandling Taiwan Howard. I don't think Taiwan Howard got destroyed. It wasn't like a nobody being in there who was. I think it was a great back and forth fight. But I think it was Chris Dempsey's fight, and he pushed the pace like no one but Chris Dempsey does.
Yep,
And how did he win?
Rear naked, North-South choke.
The North-South
choke.
2 events in a row that we covered. Complete Devastation 9, and this one, North-South choke.
It was a great North-South choke. I mean, it starts out with the Bravo choke was the favorite choke of choice. No one was able to secure it, but I mean, everyone was going through it. So you got the arm coming around the neck and then up through the armpit, and then guys are trying to hold on and secure it.
Right.
Well, Chris Dempsey had a number like that going on. Taiwan Howard turns into it, and then Chris Dempsey just puts one.
He just walks around.
Yeah,
moved around him,
and that's just going to say about how good his wrestling is. I mean, he's done
awareness,
great.
and he's calm all the time. As
Oh
well.
yeah. Chris Dempsey's wrestling was really translated well into mixed martial arts. A guy we know very, very well. What time is it? It was showtime. Brett Showtime Schoenfeld was awarded the fight against Zach Goebel at Complete Devastation MMA 9.
Zach Bad News at 11.
Zach Bad News 11 Goebel.
We saw him at the last Gladiators
Glory
in the
5.
cage. Glory 5.
Again, he took that one short notice fight.
Yeah.
We're talking like less than 2 weeks. Zach Goebel had to prepare for Brett Schoenfeld. Brett Schoenfeld and Zach Goebel had not even 2 weeks to prepare for each other.
I often wonder if Zach Goebel actually has more than 2 weeks to prepare for any fight. It always seems like he's taking them at short notice, but he came in prepared.
Yeah, he did.
That.
It was the co-main event. Last time we saw Brett Schoenfeld fight, we saw him go out of the first round for the first time in a long time. Zach Goebel came in completely prepared. Brett had a little bit more of a in-depth record of what Zach Goebel did. But I think the big surprise, not even surprise, but I think something we're not fans of Brett Schoenfeld aren't used to seeing is Brett Schoenfeld tapped out to the rear naked choke 3 minutes and 38 seconds in a round.
I know I said to these guys, it was almost like the old Mortal Kombat mirror matches because you'd have Brett would throw a combination and a kick, and then they'd square back up, and then Zach would do the same thing. I mean,
right.
it was uncanny how even these guys were
These guys
going
were
against each other.
so evenly matched, and so Zach Goebel getting the win, and
I think probably the greatest post-fight interview ever, too.
yeah.
He said, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
He said something to the effect of,
Well, you know what? You can watch it on Root Sports.
I don't think
Hopefully they don't censor it. Hopefully they don't cut it out. But you
I don't
can
think I
watch
can
it.
pull it off without sounding creepy.
Yeah, watch it on Root Sports December 20th, Friday night, 8 p.m. You won't want to miss it.
So if you've been watching Cage Nation TV for any period of longer than, say, 2 weeks, you know that we've really been building up to Gladiators, the Cage, North Shores, Rise to Power 3. Last week we had a great interview with Dominic the Honey Badger Mazzata. He had some very respectful things to say about Jordan Espinosa. Jordan Espinosa absolutely talked zero about smack. There was no actual smack talk going on.
No, these guys, Espinosa came in, they did the little high five thing between each round, they're tapping gloves. I mean, it was just respect the whole way around.
Right. So this is the first time that Dominic Mazzata's had to go outside the first round of his pro career. And halfway through the second round, Dominic Mazzata was able to secure a rear naked choke. Now, leading up to that rear naked choke, a lot of great strikes. Espinosa's a very, very good ground tactician, and he showed that. They both showed that they trained very, very well for each other. Okay? Not to steal any of Jordan Espinosa's thunder, but I think all the real impact happened after the fight. Dominic Mazzata.
Well, we should probably tell how it ended.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the rear naked choke.
257 round 2 rear naked choke.
Yeah, Mazzata had some really good takedowns. When he'd lift up, and before Espinosa could land his leg, he'd sweep it out from under and take him down. He did that 2 or 3 times. It was impressive. But yes, let's get to after the fight.
Yes,
because
there's a little post-fight drama.
This was awesome.
Post-fight drama, okay. So, before we get into that too, I mean, we kind of need to set the scene that there's a really, really good Pittsburgh scene. There's Gladiators as a cage, and then there's Pinnacle FC.
Right.
Okay. We actually got to talk to Rich Canalina, who is the Pinnacle FC amateur featherweight champion. It's always great to run into Rich.
He's a friend of the show.
Absolutely.
For quite a while.
Well, he's another example of Pittsburgh guys having a lot of class coming into a fight. Him and Ethan Goss did absolutely zero smack talk. It was a great fight, probably one of the better fights we've seen. But coming out of Pinnacle FC is Cody Garbrandt, who the last Pinnacle FC event there was, Cody Garbrandt actually called out Dominic Mazzata.
Yeah.
He said he wanted him. Dominic thought, he said in our interview, he actually thought that he was going to fight Cody Garbrandt this fight.
Right.
Okay. So Dominic addressed being called out. He wouldn't call out Cody by name because, you know, he doesn't want Cody's name all over Root Sports, which is exactly where his name is. Which, you know, he's earned that.
Let's tell you what, why don't we go right now to that interview and then come back to us and let's let them see the interview we have with him after.
Okay.
So let's take a look at that interview right now.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the main event is over. It's in the books. Dominic Mazzata victorious over Jordan Espinosa. That fight was incredible. Dom, congratulations. That was the first fight in a long time that's going to have the first round.
Like I said, it was first time cutting weight to 35. I had a real hard time doing it. I'm gonna get better at it every time. I waited a little bit too long, I think, to cut it. Whenever I got to the weigh-ins, I was almost a pound over. I had to do sprints outside of McFadden's in the freezing cold, and I got a little sick during it, and I was a little bit flat, a little bit slow, a little bit tired, but I felt strong. That was the important thing. I felt strong at 35, and I was able to get the job done.
That's awesome.
All right, now Dominic, let's talk about post-fight what happened. You called out a certain someone, and that certain someone came right in the middle of this cage.
Well, that beef goes long back. A couple years ago, I wrestled him in a tournament at Pittsburgh Fight Club where he trains, and I armbarred him. And I think ever since that he's been salty about it, and he's called me out multiple times. And we fight in different promotions, and he knows that. So he's calling me out. I think, in my opinion, is because I have a good following. He's just trying to put his name out there. So I thought I'm going to call him out. I didn't want to say his name, but of course he has to jump in the cage to get so he gets his publicity.
So you're confirming that was Cody Garbrandt?
That was definitely me.
I have
Albert, the guy just won. He's not. I mean, he will punch you.
I have a responsibility to educate the fans. So
Yeah, it was Cody Garbrandt.
And then
I don't want to say his name.
Well, I said it, but Dominic totally did not back down. They go forehead to forehead. The Honey Badger ready to throw down again, I'm sure.
He knows I have a contract. They know I have a contract. You want to come do it? Let's do it here. You know what I mean?
All right, so Dom, that aside, what is your next fight? What do we got lined up for you?
They're saying talk about March. I got one more fight under contract with them. Unless I get signed, I'm going to try out for Bellator. unless something happens with that next week, that's the only way that I can get out of my contract. It's in actually, that's what's in the contract. Is if UFC or Bellator signs me, is the only way I can get out of contract. Sure. If not that, then I'm going to be fighting back here in March.
All right, Dom, we're not going to take up any more time. Congratulations, Dominic the Honey Badger Mazzotta, victorious here in the main event at Gladiators in the Cage, North Shores Rise to Power 3. It's been a great night.
And there you go.
Right.
That's how everything went down.
So it got to the point where Cody Garbrandt got so jazzed that Dominic Mazzotta was calling him out, but wouldn't even do it by name, that he actually jumped the cage.
And here's the thing, Cody Garbrandt wasn't even supposed to be in the building. He was told not to be here, and he showed up anyways.
My big question is Mr. Serve from the athletic commissioner, is he going to have anything to say about that? Because you said you talked to Ron.
I talked to Ron.
You talked to Ron.
Ron Rusitano, the acting commissioner tonight, was not happy with that. He loved everything about the card except for that moment. Wasn't too pleased. So I don't know what's going to happen as a result.
Right. So it's very, very obvious that, one, Garbrandt and Mazzotta need to fight. We just need to pick a good venue for it.
Right.
It's obvious that larger MMA scenes are watching ours. One, because they're plucking guys from Altoona. I mean, they're plucking guys from Altoona and they're bringing them to Pittsburgh. How soon is it before they start plucking guys from Pittsburgh and start putting them in Vegas? So
they've got the talent.
And the great thing is the Pittsburgh fight scene has evolved so much over the last 5-6 months. I mean, it's really become something great, and to have Pinnacle FC and Gladiators in the Cage at the polar opposites of that is absolutely fantastic. Events like tonight that were so well put together, and I mean, Gladiators in the Cage obviously is trying to position themselves to be just the best. And I mean, everyone who came to fight tonight came to fight. There was not one fight that I was bored in.
No, the card was fantastic. I mean, like you're the MMA guy, so you can speak right from the card, and I can agree here and I can agree. From a production standpoint, I mean, you've got TVs everywhere. You've got big screens. You've got like when Drew and I went through the venue. You got the lighting. It's a beautiful venue, and even when they're not doing events here, they're doing events elsewhere. They still go that extra mile, like the Dream Girls and the Gladiator outfits. I mean,
yeah. Well, but I mean, by the time it's all said and done, I mean, this event that we're at will have been seen through 3 different media channels: Tough TV, Fight Live, and then Root Sports whenever it airs.
Well, not just Root Sports, but also Fox 53 out of Pittsburgh.
Four. Okay.
There's several outlets that'll be you can view this on after tonight's event.
So Dominic Mazzotta, I mean, was just seen in his second Gladiators in the Cage victory. I mean, this will be twice where his wins have been aired. So now Cody Garbrandt jumps the cage. I mean, he was pretty much called out. Dom said, I'm fighting on TV and stuff. You want to fight me, you're going to fight me here.
That's a really good point, because they have all this coverage, so I don't really hold an allegiance to,
No.
we're pretty not, impartial.
No, we are. I mean, we are, but we can also point out where excellence exists.
If you're a fighter and there's this many eyes on here, where you're on the internet and you're on broadcast television, what are you going to do? And the other thing is, how much time are you going to have before he gets Mazzotta gets taken to a Bellator or maybe even a UFC?
Right.
I mean, the way his stocks just.
Mazzotta said on our interview with him that he'd fight this season of the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, because he fights at 45 or 35, and those guys can't make weight. I mean, he did a great cut this week. This is one of his harshest cuts, but he felt strong. So, to you guys, I'd say your best piece of advice is keep following this regional Pittsburgh scene. And I got to tell you, who's following the regional Pittsburgh scene better than us? I mean, I'm not saying we're not doing anything else anyone else can do, but I think that we've just taken a big shine to it. And whenever we're very, very excited about something, I think that translates very, very well.
Yeah, and there's a reason that we're following it, too. It's because of the quality of fight. And I tell you what, the fighters themselves, they're good fighters, but they're really respectful. Everybody we've dealt with.
There was no smack talk.
They're class acts.
I mean, I cannot think of one guy who was talking smack. I mean, plenty of opportunities to do so. We gave Dominic Mazzotta an opportunity to talk smack about Jordan Espinosa. He wouldn't take it. He said, Jordan's a great guy. This is how I'm training for him. Chris Dempsey, I mean, I don't think Chris Dempsey has a bad word to say about anybody.
Even Dominic Mazzotta inside the cage in the post-fight interview wouldn't mention Cody by name.
Right.
Would only say that another fighter, and said that he essentially called him out. Wouldn't even mention my name. And then
Zach Goebel and Brett Schoenfeld, I think two of the most charismatic fighters who have ever fought in the scene, had an opportunity to talk smack and they didn't take it. I mean, these guys are all about respect and the true essence behind the contest and the sport of mixed martial arts. I mean, I've seen plenty of guys who are just talking smack and they get laid out, and you're like, he kind of deserved it. But that didn't exist here tonight, and that's what makes us look classy as fans of the sport. Was that, you know, we're not soccer hooligans, or we're not tearing down a stadium and ripping seats out. And, you know, we are all about class act and preserving the spirit of competition. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Gladiators of the Cage North Shores Rise to Power 3. We'd like to thank everyone who's had us here today. It's really an honor to be here.
Rich Miller, Josh Cromer, Ray Reamer,
Robert Joseph.
Robert
Joseph, who brought this night together.
Yes.
I mean, that Robert Joseph is like the brain power and the driving force who brought such a great night of fights here together. That man deserves a big. He needs to go home and pat himself on the back.
Most definitely.
And then he needs to probably put in a lot of hours to figure out how he's going to outdo himself this time.
No, that's Rich Miller's problem.
Oh, Rich.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
Rich's problem.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the entire team's going to sit down and figure out how they're going to make it better because they went above.
Well, I think Ray told us about how the video system wasn't quite coming together. I mean, that was perfect.
Yeah, he said he was going to wing some things and get some stuff. I'll tell you what.
I don't know, but
fantastic job on that.
I don't think Ray knows how to half-ass anything.
No, I really don't.
No. Okay.
Now, I'll tell you what, we got a tease. We got some news we can't mention.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
I would say two things that we can't mention.
It's
It's not going to be helpful, but I'll tell you what, we will get the exclusives on. At least one of them will be our exclusive, if not both of them. And I'm telling you what,
this
it's going to rock, I think, the regional MMA.
It's going to bring vindication to where I think we all need it.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to bring two very important fight scenes together for something that should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if these things go through, and that's why we're not, reporting on them now, if they go through, it's going to be an exciting
Bombs away, baby.
It's going to be a 2014.
Oh, 2014 is setting up to be an exciting year anyway. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty safe to say this is probably going to be the last event we see of the year. I mean, UFC 168 aside, I mean, we're probably all going to watch that. But I think as far as the MMA that we've seen this year, coming to Gladiators of the Cage, I think was one of the best moves that we've done. I mean, there's so much hot MMA coming out of here. The WCCs, the Complete Devastations, the other one.
Oh, VF.
Yeah. I mean,
the Complete Devastations, the Gladiators of the Cage,
the WCCs,
the WCCs.
even the Pinnacle FCs. I mean, there's just so many great fight scenes, and they're strong.
Which we still have to get to Pinnacle FC. We've got to cover a fight.
Well, I mean, hopefully it's talk to Cody Garbrandt. And it's actually, you know what, Cody? We're actually I'm going to try to get a hold of Cody Garbrandt. I mean, I want to talk to him about.
Yeah, I'd like to get both sides of the story. Because again, we're impartial. We're not going to take sides, anything like that. We're going to report on what we got.
For all we know, I mean, Dominic Mazzata could have punched Cody Garbrandt's mother. We don't know. I mean, I can't imagine he'd do that, but
he didn't. Why would you say that?
Because the honey badger don't give a fuck. Okay.
All right then. So anyway.
Okay, so for Kess, for Drew, I'm your elected official, Albert Cameron. This has been our coverage of Gladiators of the Cage North Shores Rise to Power 3. Thank you to everyone at Gladiators of the Cage and everything for having us here today. We got a long drive ahead of us.
Are we going to Permanis? What are we doing?
It's late. I got to go to a Penn State pit wrestling match tomorrow.
Oh, I got to drive tomorrow. It's supposed to be...
We're in Permanis in spirit, but...
Can we go to Sheets?
Yes.
We'll go to Sheets.
Yeah, that's equal. All right, let's get out of here before we all get in trouble. They're going to throw us out of here.
Yes. We'll talk to you guys next week.
For Cage Nation TV, Kess, Albert, Drew, so long from Pittsburgh.
And thanks for watching.